I didn't put my makeup on though.
Won't matter.
Okay.
Just in case, I mean, I always find it helpful to go back and listen
Okay.
because I miss stuff. Not that I'll listen to this, but other things. But if it helps, it's good.
Sure.
We talk about a lot of stuff, so a lot of
Some
times.
of us forget, so.
Yeah. Now it's taped, so nobody can say,
That's true. I like it.
all right.
No, for real though, you guys have the agenda in front of you, yeah? Pat and Valeria.
You know, I didn't.
I know
print it.
Johnny does because he's organized.
Sorry.
You don't have it?
Briefly
you can-
review notes from the last meeting.
Yeah. So you guys have the notes from last meeting too. I sent you.
You did send it. I didn't print it off. It's not in front of me.
right.
I can't believe I forgot.
Me either. It's so weird.
Look at her. She did it.
I
Alright,
know. So you can
Let's
share.
summarize it. Let's go for it.
All right.
What did we talk about last time?
Oh, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff last time. Mainly just doing which a lot of the stuff is on the list that we're going to follow up on today. Doing the cards, the patient cards, the colored cards, for lack of a better word. The metric stuff that we've done for Johnny. Let's see. Talking about the promo. Really, everything that's in last month's notes, they're more detailed, but we're going to kind of review them and follow up on them today. So I don't know that we need to spend a whole bunch of time on that. I'm sorry, I gotta grab a tissue, pardon me.
Okay, so that's thing.
Review the marketing regards, the golf and Dr. Pat on the road.
Yeah, how's it going handing those out and getting responses? I know we talked a little bit, Valeria and I did the other day, but.
Yeah, so for your benefit, John, we're doing it. You know, we got a nice system going. One thing I want to do say, the next time we go to print on anything, let's make sure that we all get our eyeballs on this because there was many typos in the print. There were, I said many, there was at least three kind of big ones. It was like, oh crap. So we're still handing them out, but it doesn't look good when I'm handing it to a professional business person, which I did the other day. It's a golf place. It's pretty cool in Ashburn. And anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. But so we're handing them out. We're doing that.
Who's the final? It's the last thing you want me to do. So who's the final proof that needs to sign off on it? Because you supply the content. I put it on the postcard. I don't think you guys saw it. So I mean, some people are good at this and some people aren't, and I'm not. Once I start developing something, I can't see the content anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I would say, and I'm not very good at it either because
it's obvious once it's printed to everybody, but for some reason,
yeah.
before it's printed, it's not so obvious.
So interesting. Valeria and I talked about that because she's the one who's English is her second language, but she's the one who caught most of the stuff. So I would say between Tracy and, you know, if all of us are looking at it.
But I get that. I just want somebody to be responsible.
Correct. I agree.
If we all look at it and we all miss it and no one really owns it, that's when it's like, oh, well, who was supposed to be the final? So I think I vote Valeria.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, since we're in the office, I can just take it over and. I don't know.
She's really good at it actually. So I think, yeah. So that's it. But I want everybody to look at it and then we'll just know Valeria is going to be the final one to make the corrections.
So in that, out of this meeting, I'd like to be able to, because we got, we did 2 last month to get ahead. Now, basically, we want to, in the next 2 weeks, if we want to do another card, have the information for the September card, so we don't have to pay rush fees, and or your guy can do it.
My guy can do it for free.
He will,
He
okay,
just said it.
Well,
I
there
got
we
it once
go.
I was driving in here. I was like, oh my gosh, he wants to do it for
all
free.
right, so then. We'll figure that at towards the end of the meeting, like what is, if any, the emphasis for September. And then we'll also then develop a video potential idea around the same thing we do for a postcard if we want to do one. Okay. So,
Are you talking about Tim? Doing it for free?
Yeah. Yeah,
so the goal would be to design it by mid-August. Then he has 2 weeks to turn it around, and then we start just something.
so while let's just finish this. So Tracy, Valeri and I have already talked about this and want to run this by you. I believe the golf thing is really amazing. We haven't had a single hit on it. So I'd like to continue you know, through the months with people. I'd say probably till November, because people, they're gonna play golf anyway. But you know, I think we got some nice weather, so just keep doing the golf thing, because I think once it gets some traction, it'll be good. I don't want to go, oh, let's go into the new program because golf's not working. I think it's gonna work. And on that note, I've got a realtor who is actually the realtor who sold or had his name attached to every single home in the Belmont Country Club. So he's the biggest name in that area, Greg Wells. So he contacted me through somebody who said, you know, hey, you got this golf program. He loves golf, and so I talked to him. He gave me some leads and stuff, and I followed up on those leads. And so I prayed about it, talked about it with Tracy, and just said, you know what I'm going to do. This, he said, you know what, I think I'm going to come by and do your program. Well, it's been a couple of weeks, he hasn't called me. So I emailed him, we had a little exchange, and I said, you know, you've helped me, give me these leads, that's really nice. I said, what I want to do for you is I want you to do the 4-week golf program at no charge. So he contacted me yesterday and he said, oh, that would be awesome. So he's excited. He's going to start the week of August the 7th.
It's scheduled, it's coming the 7th or 8th.
Okay.
But it's done, it's scheduled.
So we're gonna have, he's using him as my advertising budget. I'm gonna blow his socks off and hopefully he'll have a good. So if you guys think about it, pray about Greg Wells and his golf score gets better or something, you know, and because he can talk to everybody.
And we need to be like, so when August what?
7th or 8th.
All right,
But
so like. We could probably, I don't know if it'll be September, but we could probably make a card. Take Greg's picture, get a testimony. Still promote the golf thing, but let him be the pitcher.
Okay,
If he's willing.
yeah,
I mean, you're doing it for free.
right.
So-
He would be willing.
Plant that seed like now, so that we can capture. You know, towards the end, when he's like, wow, you know, this really did work. And now he's the guy that we can use to promote.
Yeah, and on that note, he called me and was interested in the golf thing because he heard from somebody, but he also just was like, hey, I want to help this guy. He said the reason was because he saw either a video or a picture or whatever of Paul Weiss. And he goes, if Paul's connected with this, he goes, it's got to be good. So I think with him being, everybody in the country club that plays golf knows this guy. So that would be good. But I started this all out saying that we've already got a swimming program, we already have a running program. So I would like to develop postcards for the swimming and the running. And because we already have our system in place, we're handing out golf things, we can hand out the swim things, the running things to our different athletes and stuff like that. So I don't think that's gonna give us more to do. It's just fits right into our system. So I think we can do those 2 postcards. So if
Can I ask you,
Yeah.
which country club is he at?
Belmont,
He is Belmont, okay.
Yeah, we're already in Belmont, Neighbors, the magazine. We're doing that every month and then, we're gonna be doing that golf, thing. That other guy reached out.
Yeah, did you get the contract I sent you?
I guess not.
I emailed it to you. I can do it again. Because until you do that, we don't do anything. So you need to do that
All right.
and pay.
Stay on top of me to get that done.
Oh, well. And it looks like Greg Wells is, I can see the schedule. He's coming in Tuesday afternoon, the 8th at 3.
So with those 2 postcards, can you develop those just off of the kind of the same way you did the golf, or how do you want to do that?
Yeah, I got enough info. I'll produce them all and get them to you guys with a couple of other ideas so we'll finish out the year. We'll have like everything in the hopper and then we can choose to print as needed for free. That's pretty easy. So we'll probably print a card a month and just have them. And if we don't want to give them out, we'll hold off,
Right.
So that way we'll get in a consistent rhythm. And like I said, if it's free, it's free. Like it's a no-brainer. What I'd like to do is a Greg Wells testimony, swim, run. Is there a swim season?
Ask that same question.
There really, for year-round swimming, there really isn't.
Okay.
They're basically right now, the biggest competition is gonna be this weekend and next weekend. Then they get like a couple weeks off in August. And that's pretty much it until next August. I mean, it goes the whole year. So there's very little downtime in swimming.
Again, and then maybe what I would consider is a Christmas initiative, meaning we're going to give something to somebody for Christmas, and that's going to be something we promote. Like we're going to promote to patients. Hey, we're going to connect with Tree of Life or Angel, whatever, some initiative that you all have a heart for, bringing freedom to ladies in Salem.
Right. So Christmas, what do you call that?
Christmas initiative. Like we need to pick a thing. We, meaning you, something close to your heart that.
Do you like my subliminal messaging for today?
Yes, bring freedom to the homeless in Salem, the homeless ladies in Salem.
Same.
Same thing. I don't even know if I'm going.
And or something I like to do is instead of Christmas, where everybody does Christmas, is to do a Thanksgiving initiative, because nobody does Thanksgiving initiatives.
All right.
I agree. I think that's a fantastic idea. That is so true.
And the thing with Thanksgiving initiative, it can go through Christmas. No one's gonna question it,
Could you go a little bit more into detail of that? Do you mean as in like we participate with a?
Yeah. You can either take donations or take gifts, like something tangible that a
Okay.
patient would connect with. It's not just, oh, that's nice that Dr. Pat does that. I saw that on Facebook, but it's like, no, bring something into the office or donate some money to something and we'll, it's gonna be a thing. We're gonna have to do some work around it. But if it's just a promotion, people see right through it. If it's something tangible, they start to and then we can have some fun with it and engage people, get some testimonies. I just don't know what it is.
Well, and maybe popped into my head from a business standpoint and also from what's the environment right now is the Sound of Freedom movie. I mean, so many people are coming in and asking, did you see that movie? Did you see that movie? And they're talking about it and they've already cleared $100 million, on that movie. So people are watching it and that's that grips people's hearts because it was about kids. So
and that fits your passion and brand, like as far as wanting to be family oriented, to help families.
So what's a cause, maybe locally or whatever, there's got to be an organization that is on the front lines with dealing with sex trafficking, kids and all that stuff. That maybe we could tie into, because that, we already know the public is looking into that.
Right.
And
But what's a tangible thing they could do to be part of that is what we got to think about. Because
Right.
people can give money to anything.
Right.
Um,
Well, if we find an organization, because maybe they've got an event coming up or whatever, or something, and we can just help them, and our patients can get part of that. So I don't know,
all right.
something like that.
I'll look into that, but I will tell you too, Angel Tree, Prison Fellowship Angel Tree that we used to do, their main hub is in Lansdowne. So that's where their headquarters are located. So I don't know if that's something you want to think about again, because if you think about it, these kids that are involved in the Angel Tree program, they are highly susceptible to being coerced and getting into situations like that because they don't have parents at home. Their parents are incarcerated. So I think that opens up a door to talk about that. And it's also something tangible. They can bring a gift in. That's just a thought.
I think we could do that anyway, because even if after Thanksgiving, we could put a little tree up, and because it's only usually what, like 10 or however many.
Well, you can have however many you want. Up your way, you probably would get, I only ask Jerry every year for 10 to 15 because I knew that's all we could manage. So.
Oh, you do 10 or 15. I mean, they always go quickly. So I think that's a nice thing to do. We can do for Christmas.
Right.
Hmm.
The 10 or 15 one.
10 or 15, yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, so there's an angel on the tree, and somebody will pick it up, and it'll tell them what kind of gift to get.
Oh.
And it's specifically for kids that have a parent or both parents in prison.
Okay.
So it's a little different from Salvation Army.
Yeah,
Okay.
stuff.
and then we can go and deliver the gifts to the family that they love that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's cool because you get to share the gospel with them too. You're not just dropping off gifts. So that's a pretty cool thing. Why don't I do this? I'll look at some organizations up there. I'll actually connect with Janet.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe when I'm up there, me and her and Valeria can get together and figure out something and get things rolling for that.
Well, that'd be great. Okay, so we've got that. While we're kind of on the postcard thing, Valeria and I talk about this almost every day. And that is our excitement for handing the postcard out, needs to be high. And, because we also, it hasn't really been taken off. So it's kind of, our excitement's kind of waning, at times. So you guys have any suggestions for us?
Yeah, I think, again, since we have this free resource, I think we capture all this stuff really quick. We don't wait for the season. And when you're talking to somebody, Valeria, on the front end, you start asking what they're interested in and give them the card they're interested in. Are you a runner? Here. Are you a swimmer? Here. Are you interested in helping kids at Christmas? Here. Are you interested in this Thanksgiving Sound of Freedom initiative we have? Because then it gives you lots to talk about.
Mhm.
And I mean, if somebody's not interested in one of those things, they're probably dead.
Yeah.
Right. So that way,
And we can give us
versus like this month, we're giving this out and you have to take it, but I don't golf. I don't care about it.
Right.
You'll have,
Yeah.
and then as you start to honestly spend more time engaging patients,
Mhm.
you're going to see trends. Like a lot of people are interested in something we're not offering. Let's start offering this thing. And that way because it's free, like we can print as many informational cards as we want.
I could probably say we've had, well, even though we haven't had a hit, but more interested in the Dr. Pat on the road. I even had a patient just give me back the golf, like, we don't need to do this. Like, oh, okay.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
You said not interested in Dr. Pat?
No, golf.
Golf, we had
Oh.
more interested in the
Yeah.
dark, yeah.
Okay,
I think that's an easy one to talk about, especially with, you didn't see the video we just did I just did
it looks
for
good.
Yeah,
the
the
Mennonite.
Mennonite,
But
okay.
like people don't have to be Mennonite to lean into that, right? They're like, wow, that's really cool. So, and I think if you guys, now this is where you have to be really intentional about cracking the door open for them not to just think, oh, that's nice for the Mennonite. But what does it mean for you? Is there anything you're involved in where Dr. Pat could come and speak or whatever? I mean, if I see that, I'm gonna think, well, yeah, I have a group. It'd be great for him to come speak at it.
And Valeri, oh, sorry. No, you go
Oh.
ahead.
All right, I'll do, so Chris, your son, he mentioned to me about a month ago. He was like, would you ever consider coming to my office? He goes, because it's a pain in the ass for me to, go to work, then leave work, and then come back. He goes, it's disturbing. He said, but if you were at my office, he said, I could take 10 minutes, get adjusted, and get back to work. And I said, well, I would do that if you could line up some people. So, you're already saying, that, so that'd be something that if, I can reach out to him, you reach out to him, whatever, to say, we got the Dr. Pat on the thing. I don't really want to set up and do clinics all the time. I'd rather do some talking, but he's so close. I can bring a table, come on over there and treat, as long as I get 10 people.
Yeah, and you need to set that parameter, and I think that's you need to know what that is, and Valeria needs to know what that is, because that could be an offer she could offer without even you.
Right.
Like, hey, if it's 10 people, Dr. Pat will do a 2-hour deal in your house or in an office, but the requirement is there needs to be 10 people, whatever the number is, and it takes to do 10 people, in this kind of situation, it takes about 2 hours.
I think that'd be good too. That way it's promoting what you do and you do the work. Because I told Dr. Pat, like, when I hear Dr. Pat on the road, I'm thinking, oh, house calls.
Yeah.
And not just the seminar. But I feel like that would be pretty cool too. And I know, but it will be a lot.
The treatments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mind doing it. I think it's good, especially if they're close by, because if somebody has something significant, I'm like, look, I'm on to treat you today, but you need to come into my office.
Well, and we could set it up like this. It's like within 10 miles, 10 people, within 20 miles, it's almost like,
Yeah,
like, if you're gonna get 30 people in Percival,
yeah, do it.
well, I'll spend a day in Percival,
Yeah,
right? But that would be kind of a standard mile per person, right? And, beyond that, it would have to be a really special thing, but within 30 miles to get 30, 20 or 10.
yeah,
That's and that's probably 2, 4 full, like a 2-hour stint, a 4-hour stint, and a full day.
yeah. I could do that. I could do 30 people probably in 5 hours.
And you could say, you know what, for now, Friday, that's it, that's our day,
Yeah,
and we'll try this. And you have some, then you don't really have to stop him for, hey, what do you think? Like, no, this is it. If you can get 10 people on a Friday, I have a schedule, and you know what the schedule is. I can't do it on the 3rd because I'm in Mennonite, and and here it is. So I think that would be, again, is that a thing for the future? Hopefully not, but maybe.
we could do it now.
Yeah.
Every.
No, I'm saying, but like in the future, if you have 50 clients a day, 50 patients a day, you're not gonna have time to do this.
If we always hold Fridays, we can do that.
Sure, and because you may have an associate that does some of this, and the thing I still in this same thinking, when I think of running clubs or swimming clubs, then it would be like, and I'll give that night, and I'll give a little seminar on running. So that next time I do a Friday in Percival, I'm gonna get a bigger group of guys, because now they're gonna bring the running group,
Right.
whatever. So there's a lot of ways to tie Dr. Pat on the road with the specific
Yeah,
sports.
I like it. I think that gives us traction. know,
Thank you.
and that helps tremendously for her, because I think her thing has been like, how do I open up the discussion? Because coming in, it's like she doesn't know the person and she just hands them a golf cart. You know, and then they look at her like, I don't need that.
Well, that goes back to what I was gonna say earlier. She and I talked about the patient question cards. Maybe the questions for this upcoming month need to be geared around that.
Yeah. If we can reword it somehow, because we kind of already covered that with our first one. It was like, what are you interested in? And where they had things they could choose. But I think you're right. Maybe we could just, you know, kind of tweak that again to be more specific.
So she and I talked about the other day about following up on those, how we're gonna do that or how she's gonna do that. Because if they're putting stuff on there, like he said, that might jog something if she looks, if, you know, look at it again, like, oh, you mentioned you were interested in this. So she and I are working on a way to figure out how to best follow up with those cards. Because
Okay.
in the beginning, you were gonna toss them, right? But now you're keeping them. Is that correct?
Yeah, because I think the initial thing was get them to answer the cards, give it to Dr. Pat. And then Dr. Pat was gonna have a slight or a little conversation in the room. And then from there, we were just gonna toss it, but I just kept them just in case. And like, I mean, I did, and that way we can go over them, and then now we can actually do a good follow-up where I can say, hey, you know, I can go back to the cards, go back to the patient. And say, oh, I was reviewing the card and I see that you're interested in this. Dr. Pat's actually doing more free.
Because she can keep those cards in a little box, kind of like how we kept the travel cards up front. You know, we had that little thing. I know these are smaller, but she can go through them every week and see who's coming in and be like, oh, well, I haven't talked to this person about that.
So I like the follow-up part, but are you gonna go to the bathroom? Yes. I want to share this with you because I want your input. Says you can hear me, but you know how I am. I have to have your face, otherwise
I guess.
I don't think you're paying attention. So how you're tired?
I'm so tired.
Oh my gosh, did you get a bagel?
No,
I'll be back.
I fell asleep and I heard my alarm and I just stood on the couch for maybe like an extra 5-6 minutes just staring into space.
I thought for sure you were just, you conked out and you're done.
No,
Are you gonna go get a bagel afterwards?
I think so.
No.
Yeah.
Can you walk over from here or do you have to drive?
You can walk over, it's not too long.
Are you gonna drive over? Well,
I might walk because to drive, we try to find the spot.
I'll walk over with you because I'm not exactly sure where it is and I wanted to get some.
Okay,
So I bring something back to my mom too.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, then Tracy left.
Yeah, so what was I gonna talk about?
The follow-ups and.
Okay, yeah, the cards, yeah. And I want her. That's the room that I sleep in when I go to her house.
Oh, yeah?
Uh,
I see the pictures in the back,
yeah,
every time we talk.
come on, Tracy. She could have gone when you were going. What else, is there anything, Larry, that you want to make sure we talk about?
I know that one was one I wanted to talk about, the engaging, well, I'm working on the engaging, it's more of the follow-up, we both need to work, yeah. Yeah, I think that was it.
All right, well, she's back. So here's the follow-up and I want your input, John. So we have a sheet that she puts every person's name down that comes in for the day. And then we've got columns You know, Google review, Facebook review, so we're checking it off if they've done it. And it's becoming very redundant for her, but I told her, I said, let's keep doing it. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. At least we're not seeing like 80 people in a day. You know, it's only for like 10, 15 people. So it's not that bad, but she's redoing the work each time. So, and then what I told her to do is when she gets the green card, the blue card, whatever card, instead of stacking those cards up and having to go through them, to me, it's almost like going through 300 emails. And I'm gonna miss something, right, at some point in time. And if I put it off, I might forget. So those cards eventually are gonna get put off. They're gonna be too many. You're gonna have to go through it. It's gonna be, you know, so I said, let's try to take care of it right away. So the person came in today, we got the card back. If there's anything on there that says they circled, you know, golf, they circled, you know, running, they circled pain or headaches, they circle whatever we got on there, that she puts that next to their name in the outside column.
Mhm.
So at the night time, I see that and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do their video and talk about golf. Hey, it's good to see you today. You know, we're making progress. I see that you had some interest in golf. You know, let's get that scheduled or whatever, you know, so I can follow up on it. So it's done. Now, past that, I don't know what the next follow-up would be, because you have to follow up with people like 7 times for that actually.
Right.
So we've got, you know, the golf thing. We got the card, they circled it, that's another one, you know, she's talked to him, I've talked to him, that's another one. Then I do the video, another one, so we're about at 5 contacts. Number one, do you guys think that's a good idea with the follow-up on the daily sheet? And then just get rid of those cards, throw them in the trash, because we've, you know, going through them is not, you know, we can refer to this
Right.
paper instead of her having to go through all the cards. And we deal with it quickly, done. But
Right.
number one, that's first question. Second question is, what could be 2 more follow-ups?
So, oh, I'm sorry.
Well, my question is, are we using Asana?
Aha.
Because
That's a whole nother question later on down the
Okay.
list.
Why not?
that could be the answer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only seeing 10 patients or 20, even 20 a day, it's, you know, you could keep all this data in Asana. You could have each patient's name even as a project, and you type in just one little bit of information, takes 2 minutes, done. And you assign yourself a task saying, because of this information, you know, ask Betty in 4 weeks, what's going on with boom. Because otherwise it's like, good luck trying to keep all this.
Right.
So part of the reason we don't keep data is because we don't know how to keep data, and then it becomes sticky notes and spreadsheets, and nobody's paying attention because it's overwhelming. And then Valeria has her own little way of doing it. Heaven forbid, Valeria's not here today. You know, but if again, that's a good reason to use Asana, because otherwise you're wasting energy because you're collecting this data and you're not doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I Tracy said Asana is probably a leader thing, but we were thinking of just using Google.
That's fine. Just
Yeah.
use something. I'm not saying you have to use Asana, but use something where you quickly capture it in somewhere where he has access to it, and it's not like you're in a little system
Okay.
and you're all on the same page, whether it's Asana or Google Tasks, you know, it doesn't matter, just as long as it's somewhere, because it really does take the somewhat, it seems like,
Memory out of it.
yeah, it takes the memory out of it. And even when it feels like it's a waste of time, on that 7th hit, when that person does, yeah, let's do this, it's like, hey, it does work. And you know,
Right.
sometimes the average, sometimes it takes 15, sometimes it takes 4,
Right.
you know.
So I have a question then. So Dr. Pat, I love you, but you seem to struggle with things like that and remembering to look at things. Valeria, kind of the same thing. If it's not in front of you, are you going to remember to check it and look at it? And that was the reason that Valeria and I talked about having the cards. Those are not for you. Those are more for her to remember to talk to the patient and engage with the patient. Because if she's checking somebody in, and if we do Asana or Google Tasks and you have a list, what is going to help remind, and Valeria, this is more for you because you give Pat that sheet. What's going to help remind you to talk to the patient about it? That was kind of my thought about doing that, because you and I talked about that a little bit the other day. What is best going to help you follow through and get done what you need to get done? Because if you're doing all your stuff you're supposed to, the follow through for him should be easy because it's just going to flow back. So I hear the Asana thing and I don't disagree with it, but if we do that, we've got to get a higher level of service from Asana, right, Valeria? Is that what you said? Or we can use Google Tasks. Like Johnny said, doesn't matter as long as we're doing something. But what is going to best help you to remember to do what you got to do?
Well,
I'm visual, so I like to see it and have something in my face to remind me.
yeah, for now, I think for me is having the cards. And then as I get the hang of it, then slowly I'll get rid of it. So that way I'll start, and I think Google does reminders and stuff like that. Because I think that would be better for me, and then slowly get to the point where.
Think about, and I have no idea what the answer is, but like as an experience as a patient, if every day, because you have so few patients right now, why not like go overboard with this? That you could pull up Johnny's file, wherever it is, Asana, Google, or a piece of paper. And it says everything I've told you that's more emotional, not physical. It's more of you're learning me. And you can, like, when I walk in, and maybe I haven't been here a month, and you're like, hey, how's it going with this, and this that you told me about it, and you're engaging me at a level that's not even, no one does, but it's a system. To me, it feels like you're just like one of those special people that remember things, but it's a system, and the system revolves around some of these initiatives. Because what you're looking for is data. You're still looking for, like, Johnny's part of a club, and I really want to get Johnny to get Dr. Pat out to his running club or out, but if I don't know what it is, but like it ought to be that part of your job is to study the 10 patients or the 15 patients, and before they ever walk in, what you're going to talk to them about. Plus someone like you that has labeled themselves a little shy. For me, I use the hotel industry. I was really insecure and shy, but when I worked for the hotel industry, everything was scripted. So I looked like a rock star. I looked like an extroverted rock star because they told me what to say. They told me what to do. And I really enjoyed it because I wasn't really putting myself out there vulnerably because they told me what to do. So I think that would help you have a script in your head, so you're not having to think like, oh my God, how do I interact with this person? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does.
But how? Like, that's the question. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's one thing. So for me, it comes out naturally with those who I've already have like a relationship with. It's almost everyone that I can do that with now. I'll say, oh, hey, how's your mom? Or how this happened? There's certain patients that I still don't feel that full connection with, that I struggle with, like, I can't really, they also seem super quiet, so it makes me more like, do I want to ask? Do I want to try to take things or pick things out of them? That's one thing. Like most of the patients I can do that. But
I'm also talking about, and I know this sounds manipulative, and I guess it is, but beyond how are they feeling? How's your mom? It's more, what do you have to offer them that they're not taking advantage of? Those kind of questions. That's a little deeper, and I'm talking about all the stuff we're talking about, as well as what we're not talking about, because you're on the front line collecting data. And you can find something out that people need that we don't even know, we're not promoting. So like, what are those questions look like?
I'm getting helpful back.
And well, and that might start with something just really simple to open the door. Who's that difficult lady that came in that like was just always blah?
Linnea?
Yeah, she's such a ray of sunshine. But that day she came in, the first time I saw her, she didn't speak to me at all. But the second time I was up there, remember I told her I liked her jacket?
Uh-huh.
And we talked for a little bit. Are we best friends? Absolutely not. I don't know that I'd know her if I saw her on the street, but that made her talk to me. And so that started a conversation where you just have to learn to weave in what you guys do and what you're passionate about. And like Pat said, you need to be excited about it too. I hate golf. I think it's boring. I don't understand it, but I can be excited about it, you know? So you got to figure out how to tap into that.
But
Maybe
then
some Red Bulls after your
collecting that data
route.
also gives you some discipline,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if I don't have to collect the data and I'm not comfortable doing it, guess what? I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
But if I have to collect the data, it almost puts a accountability on me to go, I gotta ask the question. I gotta ask some questions. I gotta test what's gonna work for me. Some questions that are gonna lead towards a couple initiatives that we offer. And again, I mean, this isn't sales, because I really care about these people and I want to help them, but maybe I don't know
How do we help?
how do we help them?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
again, so much of this stuff, and you and I talked about it, it's like marketing is not going to work. This is going to work.
Mhm.
You naturally do it. You got to figure out how to naturally do it because you're the front line. Like everything, really, all of the stuff we're talking about lives on you to expand and God, God's right in the middle of it, because that's what like you're being called to do. You're being called to open up and become something that you probably wouldn't do in your own strength.
She's doing it. I'm gonna brag on her a little bit. So the runner that went 4:29,
Mhm.
he came in the other day, and my mom even made a comment because she was behind the front desk with Valeria for a few hours. And but I was in the hallway and I heard it. It was I thought it was great. She asked, basically came across like this, you're happy with your treatments up here, right? And he's like, yeah, it's really good. And she goes, well, why are you keeping it to yourself?
Yeah.
Right? Something like that.
Yeah, and then I'm like, do you want to keep it to yourself? Do you want no one to like get better? Yeah, and then he's like, no. He's like, you guys are the best. He's like, I told my friends. I'm like, I don't know about that. And then I don't know, he just started laughing. He was
I thought that was huge.
That is huge.
Yeah, that's really good. And so she's practicing and doing those things and feeling comfortable doing it. So I think it's great. I think that will come, but all this stuff helps her be able to ask better questions, because I think that will take the pressure off of you. Is when you're saying, what are you interested in?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
right now, what I'm looking for is a simple commitment on what is the data collection process, period. And then commit to it. Because again, Hassan, I don't care,
Yeah.
but without it, this is a lot of talk.
Yeah.
And it'll slowly move, but with it, it'll move quicker.
So I'm, the learning Asana was kind of like, I think that sounds awesome, but it's like, gosh, I'm doing so many things, like one more thing to do. I already have Google Calendar and I've been familiar with that for years. So I'm like, oh, we can use Google, like, let's do that. So I think, between the three of us, we'll figure out Google to put, because I'm already checking Google. So that won't be something that I have to be retrained in doing.
So Tracy, if we could make this a thing for next month, that we have a clear-cut process that we have tried and it's working, or needs some honing.
Gotcha.
Because otherwise I think this will stay up in the air. And again, you guys are moving the needle, it's great, but now it's collecting more data.
Mhm.
So we know what to do, like that data should tell us what to do in the future versus us
Right.
saying, let's try this, let's try that, because then it gets confusing, but the truth is right in front of us, we just gotta get it.
Yeah.
One thing Valeria and I are gonna do when I come up next week that we both hate, but we're gonna do it together. We're gonna do some role playing.
Oh, I hate it. I love it.
I wanna be involved in that.
You're not invited.
I love role playing.
We hate it with a passion.
Yeah, that's
So
why-
no, for real though, we might do that with you. I hadn't told you that yet, but she and I talked, we're definitely gonna work through some of that stuff.
I heard that Dr. Pat does a really mean Richard Simmons role-playing thing.
Yes, come
Oh,
on, let's do it.
okay. You better not roll up in there in shorts.
I
I have had enough of the coochie cutter shorts from youth camp. I do not want to see
Valeria
that
probably
anymore.
doesn't know Richard Simmons is.
They do.
But she just got, she
Yeah.
got creeped out when I did that.
Ugh.
So you're coming up next week?
Yeah, fool, I told you that.
Am I gonna be here?
That's Dr. Fool for you.
Doc,
Sorry.
I don't even know if I'm gonna be here next week, but you guys
Well,
have,
that's even better than Valeria and I have all the time in the world to hang out.
You don't have to worry about seeing Richard Simmons.
yeah,
No, we are going to yoga when I come up there.
okay, good. I like yogurt.
We're going to hot yoga.
Oh, okay. I like cold yogurt is best. All right, what's next?
Hmm.
All right, so the three of us, we're gonna figure out Google and, I don't wanna just talk about it next month. I think when you come up, we can actually put the system and just start doing it.
No, we're gonna put this, I'm gonna work on the system today. What he wants to know next month is if it's working or not.
Yeah,
All right, so we'll jump on it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That to me sounds awesome.
All right, weekly videos, you're doing your videos like you're supposed to, yeah?
Patient videos.
Patient videos.
Which ones? I mean, what are you asking? The nighttime ones or like the educational ones?
Well, both. The educational ones wasn't next on my list, but yeah, what are you doing? You're doing them every day, right? When you need to, because I know some of these patients, like you told me, they're already coming in a lot, so.
Yeah, we've kind of hit a lull because we had a kind of a drought on some new patients. But we just started getting some coming back in, so the videos are gonna start ramping up again, those daily ones. Cause I've done like 2, 3, 4 videos to the same people. And
Yeah,
I don't wanna like, kill them.
Well, there's another one. There's another like data point. Like, say you capture that he sent me a video, July 15th. By September 1st, there ought to be a reason to send me another video. But there's gotta be a trigger point and you gotta now look for, like, I gotta figure out something from Johnny to send him a video on,
Right.
even though that seems forced. Like, if you're treating somebody for 4 or 5 weeks, you probably have 5 videos if you wanted them,
Right.
if you're listening. So, but again, if you don't have that trigger, like you could be saying, hey, you're seeing Johnny on 10 o'clock on Wednesday, look for a video.
Yeah.
Because we haven't sent him a video in a while. But if we just do it randomly, it's gonna slow down and you're gonna stop getting in the habit or being in the habit.
So maybe you can help fine tune this, because I would talk to her about that, if every day we're looking for opportunity. So somebody comes in and, says, my friend was fired from their job and they came over last night, I'm exhausted, whatever, just anything, and she could put that on the daily sheet, exhausted. And so I see that, so I'm getting triggers to be able to say, oh, that's a video I could do today. But it's not systematized as far as like, okay, maybe once a month I need a video with this person. This one's like, it's sporadic, but she's looking for things, birthdays, whatever.
Yeah, I use the example of, again, in Asana, every 6 weeks, I have a recurring task to buy my wife flowers. She has no idea. And that's a thing, it's a system.
I'm gonna tell her.
So she thinks I'm a rock star because I buy flowers all the time. But if I didn't have it in there to be reminded, I wouldn't think about it. So it's the same thing. It's like having a trigger that Valeria promotes. Because I mean, I think of Victoria, you told her something about that spot right there, you did some work on, like, she was all like, she was like excited, but at the same time, she's like, I've never heard of that before. So you could say, hey, Victoria, just wanted to send you some more information about that, what I worked on today. Like that would be like, wow, that's cool.
That
She's
is,
one of those people that like eats data up,
right.
where I would be like, what's he sending me this for? I don't care, you know? But you know your patients, you know what,
I wouldn't even know that she would want that.
yeah, she was,
Now,
like,
I would,
she's that type though.
I would assume I would send you that and you'd be like, well, whatever.
I wouldn't.
So I would make a mistake on that. So how do we figure that out?
Well, maybe that's a bad example, but like sending extra information to some people that are those kind, that are really that type of person.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just like.
But that's gonna go back to Valeria collecting the data and
Yeah.
giving it to people. All
Yeah.
that's
I
gonna
mean,
come in one thing.
the video should, if there's a lull, it can't be just because we don't have a bunch of new patients. Because that will be a lull. So there's gotta be, the videos ought to be ramped back up.
I'm still doing like, like conversational things.
Okay,
I'm still doing those, but as far as, I mean, in the beginning, it was like, oh man, we're boom, 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 doing so many, like, sometimes 10 in a day.
yeah, right, but and you ought to, like, there ought to be a metric for you of like 50%, I'm just making a number up. 50%, you should be able to find 50% of the patients that come in on video for him to do. That makes me think that's my job, to make sure I ask enough questions that I can tell him, hey, they're struggling with, or it would be really good for you to say something about.
Okay. Yeah, I like that process. I think because, when they're checking in, you get that moment to be like, hey, how's it going today?
Like you said, they're tired.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not like there's like, you have to dig really deep to find something.
No, the world is full of crappy stuff every day. Everybody's got something.
Well,
I'm
and
sure.
it's I mean, this is such a special, again, it feels so one-off, but it's,
Mhm.
it's not, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
So it's like, he took
Right.
to send me a video, like, wow. So,
Okay.
and then what
Are you
about,
doing birthday videos or sending cards? Because I know you guys ordered all those cards.
We're doing both, like Badar, or like some patients who haven't really been here or been coming, videos, and those who are constantly cards.
Well, how do you keep up with that? Do you have a birthday calendar? I'm just curious.
I have a list of the patients' names and like the birthdays,
Mhm.
birth dates, and I pull out for the month, like July, and then I print out whose birthdays are coming up.
When do you do that? Like, how do you remember to do that? And when do you do that?
I do it end of the month of, so June, I do for July, and then I see the patients who have been coming in currently. And then I make that list, and then once it's coming up, I will remind to send a card, or hey, say, hey, Dr. Pat, this person's birthday is this date, but we haven't seen them. Do you want to do a card or do a video?
Mhm. So you could, though, do everything at one time, right? You could write up your cards for the month and then you just mail them when they're time. Or you could do 5 videos for 5 people that have birthdays in the month of August, and then they're just getting sent. I don't know. What do you think?
For me, well, I like to do it almost like, so let's say someone's birthday is next Friday.
Mhm.
I'll see it by Monday, so that way we can either send it by Tuesday or Wednesday, so they get it by that birthday.
Right, but what I'm saying is at the beginning of the month, if you know everybody's birthday, you could just sit down and go ahead and write out 5 birthday cards. Then your part's done and all you gotta do is plunk them in the mail.
Okay,
Instead of trying to remember to do that throughout the month.
It's done.
yeah, okay, yeah, I didn't think of doing that.
Yeah. But if it works better for you to do the other way and that helps you remember and you can be consistent, then that's okay too. That's just, for me, I like to get stuff done and then get it out of my face. So I don't have to worry about it again, but
We can
Okay.
try that.
Yeah,
and so do you decide per patient whether you do a card or a video? Is that right?
like somebody who hasn't been in a while, like Badar, for instance, I mean.
Yeah.
He hasn't responded to any of our communications and, you know, he pretty much just kind of ghosted me. And that pisses me off. It's been a long time, so, I'll send him a video. That doesn't cost anything.
Right.
At this point, you know, I don't wanna buy a card, an envelope and a stamp for him, he's ghosted me. you know.
Yeah.
So I'll just send him a video, you know, so, I mean, I don't know if that's.
Yeah, because when
cheap, but,
I asked Dr. Pat, I'm like, is this being petty? So
Yeah,
I wasn't sure, but I mean, at least we did something,
yeah,
right?
we do the video and, but our regular patients, we're sending them the video and a card. Cause it's nice to open up a card.
It is. So you're doing both things for each patient.
Yeah, except for ones that we just know they're not coming back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, give it a shot with a video.
Okay. All right. What about your other videos? You guys are TikToking
I mean, we're doing that every week.
Yeah,
every Tuesday.
yeah, I didn't do it last time, but I did it on a Wednesday or Thursday because it wasn't working on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We-
What kind of hits and return are you getting on that?
Yeah,
So the first, I don't know, couple of videos, it's slowly you were getting like 30, 40 views. The one that we recently put up, within 30 minutes, it was like 200 views.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're slowly gonna start using a new program, Opus.
mhm.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. I was playing with it the other day. But we did a huge one video, so thinking we can crop it on Opus, but we learned that we just need to make smaller videos, so Opus
Mhm.
make it better.
Right.
Have you heard of Opus? You need to look at it. It would really OPUS. I think it's opus.clip, something
I
like
think
that.
so, yeah.
It costs, I think, $20 a month or $15 a month. You can get the free version, but $15 a month. You just shoot your video and then load it into Opus. But first you have to put it into YouTube because they haven't worked it out yet to go from an iPhone to Opus, but put it on YouTube, unlisted. You put it in there and then you push and in 12 minutes, it will give you clips of each of those video, like of the video, right? And it will have the words going across the bottom.
Mhm.
And then like a word you might want to highlight or whatever, it guesses because it's artificial intelligence. It'll highlight it like in yellow. So this person's watching it and they see, you know, headaches, you know, whatever. But the Opus takes it through all the analytics so that it will take that clip and find words and whatever that are being punched in and looked at. And it'll grade you and say, this has got a 99% chance of going viral.
Wow,
Or this clip right here is like a 40% chance.
and
And
we should do the same thing with all the videos.
yeah, so we're starting to do that, but you will absolutely love this thing.
It's pretty cool.
Hello, what's up, guys?
Hey,
How you doing? Good, how are you?
Good.
So, yeah, you need to take a look at that. I think you're really good. Because they only like 40-second clips,
Yeah,
so
but
it hits people's, you know, attention span stuff,
Right,
but it's exactly what they're looking for.
I think it's cool. I mean, if I was able to figure it out within a few days, I might go for it.
good.
Mm, Well, while he's gone, I'll just share it. So I'm gonna do this my paper. So like for Facebook and Instagram, there's not a whole lot of difference in like our followers and things like that. But again, that's gonna come from us telling them to follow. So what, Larry, you might want to change the little paper we have and add TikTok to it. You know, like us on Google, follow us on social media. And then add TikTok to that with Facebook and Instagram. Because when I looked at the Google, I waited till this morning to do like a final look. We've got 31 reviews on Google, but we do have we'd have 5 stars. We just only have 31 reviews and they're all good. And it looks like we've had 18 website clicks from Google with that. So and those 31 reviews on Google have come from all over. They've come from you guys, they've come from the Mennonites, they've come from our Salem patients and things like that. So I would still keep doing that and change that paper and add TikTok to it.
Okay.
TikTok link
And
to, I can put on the website.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't think about that. And for TikTok, I texted you, if you'll send me that login information, because that way I can take your TikTok videos you do and share them on Instagram and Facebook, and then you can do same
Okay.
thing. And if somebody would send me the sign-in stuff for Opus, I could probably try to use that too, but.
You have the sign stuff for Opus.
You
Uh,
never gave it to me.
I gave it to you.
The Opus one,
Mhm.
we just did it, I didn't write it down. Because we just logged in when you were right by me, but I think I know what it
I
is.
think, Tracy, I think it's the standard, I think the login is Kennedy's Finance Board at gmail.com. And then I think it's Wicked Smart 0464.
Same as your YouTube.
I think so. It's
Okay.
W Wicked Smart, and if not, it's gonna be Red Sea 2018. Money Sign.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of those things, so just check it out, and if you have trouble, then call us.
What I was telling her while you were gone is the little things we give out for patients to like us on social media and Google reviews, TikTok needs to be added in that little list.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
because our social media likes and things like that are not super great. And people can watch stuff all day long. It's just not a lot of it's getting people to come in or come to the website and things. But people are going to like and follow and do things only because we tell them to. So we just got to be more diligent about that.
Okay, well, make sure that we're adding that to our green and blue cards and all that stuff. We'll follow up on it.
What about hero videos? Haven't seen them lately.
No, well, I did reshare the what is his name? The golf one. His name went out of my brain.
Bill Dando.
Bill Dando.
Yeah, I've shared his along with the golf thing, just to focus on that. But do you want me to share more of like just all of them throughout the time?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Create some new
I want
ones.
more, you know.
Yeah, well,
We should take, I don't know how, like we were seemingly getting a bunch of initially, I don't know, we haven't had one in a while.
Yeah.
I think just because it's not part of a system of us remembering to do that. So
I mean, I think, again, back to Google tasks that we were gonna use, there ought to be a reoccurring, like Monday task is to pick a patient that's on the books this week that you can ask, because you know who they are, to do a video.
yeah.
One or two, maybe pick two, and that way if one can't do it or doesn't come in or whatever, you always have one a week. If you don't, if this week you don't get one, you don't get one, but it's gotta be a thing. Because those are gonna get some good play. People love it.
Yeah.
Mitch would be really good.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not, I mean, 'cause he had a chronic pain that he just was living with it. And he's like, man, after a few visits, I don't have that anymore.
Well, and every time you go to the Mennonite community, you should get a video, a testimonial. Because there's so many that are like,
They would love it.
you walk on water, you might as well take advantage of that.
So
And I think
somebody has to record that and remember it to do it. And I would, between me and Tracy, we'll figure out who's going to record that, since I'm going to be probably working on the patient. So
Yeah.
You know what you could do, the worst case, you could do this. Like, you
Yeah.
could just grab it and say, you talk to them with your, which is, it's so organic, but people love it.
Yeah.
It's not produced. It's just you grabbing your phone
All right.
and saying to somebody, hey, tell me again what you just said about, where you are now versus where you were 2 minutes, if 30 seconds, maybe, whatever.
If you'll help remind me to do that.
I will.
I could do that, but I mean, sometimes we have several in there and it's like, I need my hands to work on a person while I'm talking, so capturing.
Yeah, are you always with Tracy with you?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Capturing like spontaneous stuff, I really like too, because you could just roll the camera while I'm working on somebody and get content right away,
Yeah.
that it doesn't look so canned.
Yeah, and people, like, if you do, Tracy, get Opus, you could just plug a quick 30-second clip into Opus and push it out.
Yeah.
You could even do a FaceTime live if you wanted to, I mean, that you do fine with that. Like,
Yeah.
some people, it's not good because they panic and shut down, but
I'd do fine with, but the
You just say off the wall stuff sometimes.
scary thing is something really could come flying out. It should not be on the internet.
So, yeah, what we'll do, we'll look,
Yes.
I almost had that in the film.
what's
in the
that?
video, When he gave you the finger,
Oh, yeah.
because I
That was a
didn't
good
know what you were doing. And then
That's
I-
why I tried to tell him about editing stuff.
I know. 'Cause she
Dr.
just-
Pat on the road.
Yeah.
She had done it to me like a couple minutes earlier, so I was just getting her back.
That is untrue.
You do that to me all the time.
Yeah, but that time you did it first, then I did give it back to you.
Well,
You just didn't see me on the side of the
What's
camera.
he pointing at? And then I realized.
Mhm. He's just telling me I'm number one, that's all.
Yeah.
She was number one.
So what I'll do for the Mennonites next time, we'll look at the list before we go and we'll pick a couple of patients. Because I cannot stand there and film you all day. But we'll pick a couple of patients in particular.
Asking you to stand there and film all.
I know, but I can't sit there and wait for somebody to start saying something cool and be like, oh, so we'll pick a couple of patients and that's what we'll do.
I gotcha.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Totally.
So the other thing I think I'm gonna do is get a little video of Abby, maybe in her uniform with her little gold medal.
Oh, cool.
That could be a cool little hero story. I just got to figure out how we can work that so she's not telling her super personal business. She wouldn't care. She'd be like, I pooped today, but that's probably not what we want to put on.
You know, what? I mean, if she's willing to say whatever, I mean, because people
Yeah.
will resonate with that.
They will, but I'm gonna ask her.
She plays basketball and she wets herself all the time after she had a bad fall, and that's all but gone, right?
It's better, yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty much, I don't think she did it at all during her last game. So
That's just been a thing for 3 years. She just pees herself all the time.
mhm.
And that was one visit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great story. See, that's what I need to remember, because I'm used to hearing these things, that it's just like, okay, lay down. Instead of stopping for a minute and going, ooh, that needs to be taped, so I think if I can get into the habit of like retraining my brain to not just be like, yeah, that's exactly what we're going for, I'm not surprised.
The other thing too is if I can get them together, I could get a video of her and Chris and Angie, because they were very impressed with how you took care of their daughter. And for other parents of athletes, that might be a
Yeah,
thing too. So
yeah, awesome. That would be really good. All right, are we closing it out? Or,
well, the only last thing is on my list is like what worked well for last month and what didn't, and what do we need to do better? I think we kind of covered a lot of that already, but
do you have anything?
Well, I know for myself what I could do better. Again, it's follow up, engaging, and getting. Well, the engaging part, it's like collecting data, getting to know what's going on with the patients and showing that we do care. I mean, we do care, but I want them,
Right.
so that's one thing. What else? And I do need help, and I know this could definitely be better. I know we didn't talk about the numbers and all that. I don't know how to, other than just plugging numbers and that's it. I don't know exactly what you were looking for, but I already kind of showed you.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm looking for trends, that's all. That's all I'm looking for is month-to-month numbers. You don't need to think about the strategic of
Mhm.
anything. I just want to see like this for the year. And I want to see where we're at.
okay,
So like these numbers are fine, just for the year.
okay,
So that we can see the upward trend or the, whatever's happening.
okay, do you want like a graph, like to, no?
Don't overthink it, just
Yeah.
plug the numbers in,
Okay,
period, and these are fine.
okay,
And then we'll add to it. Like the reviews, we only had 3 versus 15 in June, that's
That's a trend.
a trend.
Mhm.
We're not asking, like, so we're coming up with stuff and we can't take any of this personal. We just gotta make this our scorecard.
Mhm.
So that's it. So if we look at the trend and we look at month to month, this will be a thing that kind of tells us everything we feel, but it's on black and white.
Okay,
So don't overthink it, just do the for you. Do it
So
for
this
you.
is what you need.
Do it for the year and get it to me 2 days before the meeting,
okay.
so that I can look at it and go, okay,
So
you
you
know.
want to see last year's numbers?
no,
No,
just
okay.
this year to date.
Okay,
So
Yeah, we're staying current.
yeah, January through the next time we meet will be really. So you're not also twisted about numbers for the month. It's like next, at the end of August, we're looking at January through July.
Mhm.
Because then you don't have to go, well, I don't have my numbers yet for August, So don't worry about August. In September, we'll look at August. We'll look January through August. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
That way you can do it today. I mean,
So I guess her question though is, do you need her to go back January 2023? February, March, April, May, June, all those months and do those?
That would also be Dr. Pat going through his statements for every single.
I did it already. I gave it to you.
Yeah,
I already gave you.
I have that.
So it's done. I just did it when I looked at the statements.
Oh.
I just looked at
okay.
the cash flow.
All right.
So, yeah, so it's pretty much done.
I don't think you had the expenses, you just had totals.
I had,
So
Totals.
I will have to go and give the expenses, right? Because you want that or you don't care. Doesn't really matter. You're looking at production.
yeah, I mean, I do care for the future. I don't want to make a bunch of work because we know what it is.
Okay.
But I would rather
So from here forward,
Yes.
we'll do the expenses and stuff.
income, cash in, cash out, reviews, cards. And client, patient activity. Like this is perfect, except, and don't worry about the past. Too far back. For the money, anything he has to go spend a ton of time and we don't really need it.
Okay.
But for moving forward, it ought to be cash in, cash out, just what you have here.
Okay,
But. So we're not like making things up when we got 3 days left in the month, we'll just look through July.
Mhm.
August and look in September, we'll look through August.
okay, and then again, this might be thinking too much, but. Our numbers for cash practice, because that's where we did the collection, it will show up. Let's say $10,000, but let's say by the end of July, that money went into August. That doesn't matter, right? You just want what was collected for them, okay,
Cash in, cash out.
Yeah.
Is the simplest.
yeah,
That's
Well, what she's saying, like sometimes report, say someone comes in on July 31st and pays $4,000.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit the checking account until August 5th. So now that money went into the August account,
That's
but
fine,
it was done in July.
but that's still a cash basis. Right, so cash basis means it doesn't matter when when it hits the bank is when it's cash,
So it doesn't matter that we did the production in July.
doesn't matter.
It's
Because
in
it'll even out,
August.
and that's why
That's
we
what-
look at the trend, and it's cash in, cash out.
That's what I was trying to say. It's like, just, we'll just go off the checking account when the
Yeah.
money's
Yeah,
actually in the
and that'll
account.
be easier for you to
Yeah.
look at
Okay.
your statement,
Yeah.
cash in, cash out,
Yeah.
got it.
and then, that's. that's what it is. There's not much we can do about it.
Yeah,
The Google reviews, the cards, like, those are things we can do stuff with, but I still want to see cash in and out just to see.
yeah,
Okay.
okay.
So,
All right, I have a couple more quick things. I know you got your appointment at 10, don't you? Do you need to leave? You?
I'm good.
Okay, so I have reached out to, I just forwarded you the email for the golf almanac. Will
Okay.
you look and make sure you got it? Do you have your phone with you? Will you
Yeah.
look and make sure you got it?
Okay.
And I have reached out to 5 different golf courses and country clubs about upcoming events. So I'm in the process of working with, waiting to hear back on a couple. Belmont does have a tournament coming up in October. And the lady that I talked to, she was really sweet. She just got back from maternity leave on Wednesday when I talked to her. So I'm gonna connect with her again today. But that may be a good thing to start with as far as getting our name out there, getting stuff in the bags, depending on level of sponsorship and all that kind of good stuff. So I am working on that, and I'll have more info on that hopefully by the end of the day today. There was one other thing that just came in my brain. And now
And
I
that-
forgot it.
Tracy, that, again, it may be cost prohibitive, but if Dr. Pat can be on site for a day of a tournament and talk,
Yes,
you will get some patients.
yes, and that's one of the things I
Literally
want to
sit
talk
up
to
in
her
a
about.
table under a tent and do adjustments, like, I don't know, the legality.
But you absolutely could do that. I mean,
That would be huge. Like,
yeah,
also $1,000, but you know,
That'd be worth it.
it'd be worth it.
the only thing, the little piece of that is, it is in October, and I don't know what weekend yet. She's supposed to let me know. So here's my question for you, or both of you, I guess, because it's gonna affect you both. If it were to be the weekend of the men's conference, what's gonna be your preference?
He's already paid, so he can go to that and I'll keep his money.
That sounds great. Okay, perfect. That's what I want to hear.
I'm going to the men's conference because I've got people who are coming because I've invited them.
But the
Okay,
I can almost guarantee they don't generally have tournaments on Saturday. because it's
right.
Off day, so even if it's Friday morning, you know, you can still go and still make the men's thing.
Yeah, she made the comment, we have one coming up in a weekend is what she said. So that might be
Fair.
Friday. So anyway, I'm gonna work on that. And then what's our goal for our next meeting?
Goal,
Like what, I mean, Google or Asana, we'll figure out what we're gonna do with that, but
that's the biggie. I mean, I'm gonna do all these, what I'm gonna do is. In the next hour, I'm gonna send you guys a litany of information about postcards. And content for us to read through and choose what we wanna do.
okay,
So I'm gonna just kind of collect as much as I can data wise, or get as much as I can, so we get ahead of this whole postcard thing.
okay,
And then, I think next month is the number one thing is the system of Google, which kind of feeds everything. And then the other thing I would say is more hero videos would be a priority for me
okay.
to see.
Yeah.
But the number one deal is what are we gonna do to track all this stuff?
I think we're gonna do Google.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That would be good for all.
Okay,
all right.
All right.
I think that's it.
All right, and I'll send this out, and I would highly recommend we all, the week before our next meeting, at least, everybody listens to this.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Because
Did you hear what he just said?
the week before our next meeting, plug it in and listen to it in your car or whatever.
Okay.
Just because there's gonna be like, oh yeah, I was supposed to and I didn't do, and you know, that way we'll make our meetings more efficient by just remembering what
Yes.
we said last time.
Because soon as we get done, I'm gonna type up notes from what we just did. So we'll have those too. So
Okay, but then the people that can't read don't have to read, they can just listen.
they can or don't bring their notes with them to the meeting.
They can use their crayons and listen, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can do sign language and stuff.
we can. I am learning.
All right.
So, okay. Valeria, are you gonna go home and go to bed?
Probably.
Why don't, after you're done napping, why don't you text me? Because I want to chat with you about credit card thing. We'll do
Okay,
that later.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.